Hi, how are you? It's Wendy. This video I shot last week, and I'll tell you the story. So, I wasn't going to talk about animal symbolism quite yet, but the opportunity presented itself. I listened to my intuition, ended up at one of my favorite beaches, and I saw this amazing creature. The video doesn't do it justice, unfortunately. I wasn't close enough to get a really good indicator of the size. But I can tell you this eagle is about the size of a toddler. So let's get into it. I've been following animal symbolism for over a decade now, and I've had some really incredible experiences. Without fail, when an animal catches my attention in that subtle yet undeniable way, the message is always related to what's happening in my life and what I need to know. And I wonder if you've had those experiences too. Let me know in the comments, because I love to hear those stories. You can probably tell from the intro to this video with the quotes that I'm a huge fan of Ted Andrews and his book Animal Speak. I discovered the little pocket version in around 2016, I think, and I carried it with me for about a year, pulling it out of my purse anytime an animal would appear and get my attention. I mean, I took it to work, I took it shopping, I took it everywhere with me, and I still take it with me sometimes. This isn't to say that anytime I did see an animal, that there was a message there, because otherwise you'd be looking at the book every 2 seconds. There's animals everywhere. But there is a subtlety to the experience when it is a message, and you begin to notice it when you're paying attention. When you start to become more aware of your intuition and you start to really pick up on those subtle little taps that your intuition gives you. And for me, those are the times when the book came out. So you can start to notice it if you're not hugely in touch with your intuition just yet. A good way to practice is to recognize the repetition of seeing the same animal. That is one way to let you know that it's time to pay attention. So you might see the animal walking down the street, maybe you see a dog, that's fine. Maybe it's a specific breed of dog that you then later see a picture of, or you hear somebody talking about, or even see in a movie. So you've seen it twice now. My rule, and I know for a lot of people it's the same, because number 3 is a very spiritual number, as they all are, but 3 in particular. I guess I could say that about any number, so. But anyways, if you see something 3 times, my rule is seeing it 3 times, pay attention. Really start to pay attention. And the wonderful thing about that too is as you become more practiced and more well-versed and more familiar with the subtle little tappings, you're not going to need to see it 3 times. You're going to see it once, and you're going to associate, oh, that animal in particular in this moment is a message for me. And so then you can know to look it up. Isn't this bird beautiful? I initially, when I was sitting here filming, thought, I got the sense that it was a male, but the size would indicate that she's a female. So I'm going to be speaking to her about her as if she's a female going forward. Though I have come to understand recently that eagles, as part of the symbolism, sorry, I didn't want to get rid of the background noise because I love the sound of the waves, but some cars do come and go, so hopefully that doesn't get too loud. I'll work on that in the editing here. But eagles, as part of their symbolism, have a masculine energy, just in general. Okay, so now we're going to talk about different types of animal symbolism and communication. Different cultures have different ways of seeing animal symbolism. There's also the practice of animal communication, which is when you can actually communicate psychically with animals. I've had those experiences. It's incredible. There are people out there who teach it, who work it every day. They help animals. It's amazing. If you don't know a lot about it, but if your curiosity is being piqued right now, do some research, because there's some amazing stuff going on out there in the world. There's also a video I came across just last night that is filmed by a lady who is a speech pathologist, and she brought a puppy home. I'm not sure, I can't remember how they got their puppy, but they brought this puppy home, and she started to notice similar behaviors of this puppy to children that she worked with. So I'm just going to turn my microphone down. I think it's a bit loud. So yeah, that's a bit loud. So she figured out a way to try to communicate with her puppy, and it's a super interesting video. I've put it in the description below. Check it out. It's just another way that people have learned to communicate with their animals. She actually wrote a book. Many people are repeating her process, and maybe it's something that you are interested in doing, or maybe you have done, or maybe you know somebody who has done. If that's the case, please let us know, because I love to hear about stuff like that. So back to the symbolism. Where was I? Oh yeah, so the different practices of animal communication. So today I just wanted to introduce the symbolism. I'll talk about my communication experiences in another video. That's a whole thing. So you might already be familiar with animal symbolism. I'm guessing you probably are. Hopefully this video brings a bit of a deeper understanding for you. Most of the information that I'm sharing today comes from the excerpts from the Animal Speak Pocket Guide by Ted Andrews, plus of course the experience with this eagle, who I will talk about shortly. So like I said earlier, that pocketbook has been very helpful to me, and I still use it all the time. I have added a link to an Audible file of his book down below. I'm not affiliated with Audible or any other place that you can buy these things, but I also last night found a copy on Abe Books. B as in bat, E Books, and that was at the time of making this video, and I'm sure you could probably find a copy in a used bookstore or somewhere in your neighborhood. I also want to give a special shout out to Abe Books, a past employer of mine. Like I said, I'm not an affiliate of theirs either, but they're a great company. Go check them out. So you may not know my mission with this channel is to introduce spiritual concepts that I know of, so you can get a bigger picture of the way the world works and then do your own deeper dives. So I'm not going to get super deep into this. I only have 5 minutes of video of this bird. I have to keep looping it to cover everything I've been talking about. So with the animals, when you're seeing them, the first thing to know about the animal messages is that they can show up anywhere. They don't have to be live animals. They can show up in all sorts of media or conversations that you have with somebody, or maybe that you overhear from others. Not that you're an eavesdropper. I'm not saying that. Not that I am. Well, but maybe you walk by some people chatting and just happen to hear them mention a horse or a whale. It does happen. And maybe you've already seen something about a horse or a whale. So that's twice, right? And then you see it a third time. Definitely start to check out what that symbolism is about. I bet you're going to see it's related to what you're going through in your life. Maybe you're sitting in your garden one day and several hummingbirds show up. Or maybe you're walking on a trail and one flies right up to you and hovers for a few moments staring you down. That's happened to me and some other people that I know. That is a great indication for you to pay attention. You don't even need to see that 3 times. If a hummingbird comes and stares you down, check out. They're trying to give you a message. So one morning I was sitting in the backyard of a house I used to own when 2 other amazing birds flew by, 2 ravens. There were ravens in our neighborhood, which I just love ravens. I feel like they're one of my totem animals. And so they flew by, seemingly in slow motion. And as they flew, they turned on this crazy angle where I could see their underbelly, their undercarriage. And it was just a very slow, beautiful, graceful thing. And it really touched me. Like I ended up in tears. It was so beautiful. So I knew that was a message for me then. So just things like that, okay? And like I said, I've had so many experiences with animals. I'm going to do a separate video on that sort of thing, as far as the communication with them and what the messages meant. So look forward to that when I get it done. And as I mentioned earlier, the other way to know is to be able to hear your intuition. There will be a video on expanding your intuition, expanding your ability to recognize your intuition when it's tapping you on the shoulder. I'm going to do a free course on that coming up, so stay tuned. All cultures in all corners of the world have animals as totems, as symbols, as message bringers. So if you're somebody who studies your heritage and is interested in that, check out what your heritage, what the culture of your heritage, how they bring animals into their world, how they use them. Because There are cultures like the Celts. They have seen animals as higher forms of life compared to humans. So that's pretty interesting stuff. Anyways, check it out. And of course, the First Nations of North America use animal symbolism in their totem poles to tell the story of their clans. And also individually, we have our own animal totems. We have the messengers, we have the totems. So for me, I would say, based on my own experiences, that my totem animals are orcas, whales, wolves, ravens, and probably spiders too. So I try not to get the heebie-jeebies when I see a spider, and I always take care to get them back outside where they belong if I encounter one in my home. One crazy experience I had with spiders was I once had the experience of a tarantula walking along the arm of an overstuffed chair I was in. Don't freak out. I didn't freak out. It was just a visual, not a real spider, thankfully. I mean, I love you, spiders, but damn, that would have been creepy for me. Anyway, at the time, I was thinking about what was happening in my life, which it wasn't good. I was going through some really crazy, tough times. But I was at the stage of trying to figure out how to make necessary changes. And I was also trying to figure out what the hell was happening in my life, why things weren't making sense, why things were being very confusing. And as I'm sitting in the chair, suddenly I went into that light trance state, that you get into when you have these sorts of visions. And I looked down at the right side arm of my chair and I saw this big furry spider walking. It was just kind of like in an arc motion coming up the side of the chair on the outside of the chair onto the arm, did a little bit of an arc and then back down again. So when you're in a trance state like that, you're detached from any emotions. So there was no freaking out to be done, thankfully. I just recognized it as a message. I'm going to hurry up and go through this information because I don't want you getting bored of this video. You might already be. It's only a 5-minute video and I've got to keep looping. I thought I had another 5 minutes, but as it happened, when I went to download that other 5-minute video, it was like 2 seconds because I forgot to hit the record button on my phone at the time. I know. It happens. So, how did I come to get to see this beautiful eagle? So the other day I was getting ready to do some work on another video when I started to feel a bit restless. I really needed to get out, but it was raining out. It was pretty crappy weather, so I didn't want to go for a walk. So instead I hopped into my car and said to my dream team, those other realm beings that help us out every single day, I said to them, okay folks, where are we going? So as I was pulling out onto the street, I started to listen to see which way to turn, where to go. So as I was going down the road and I was paying attention to that, we were turning here and there. I ended up driving through this neighborhood, which was kind of depressing. I mean, you could feel the energy of sadness and loneliness. It wasn't good, but it was very close to the beach where I like to go. So after leaving there, I just kept following the intuition, which led me down to this beach. This was taken at a lagoon near where I live on Southern Vancouver Island, just outside of Victoria, BC. And you can see the weather is not so great. I don't know if you can see the rain coming down, but definitely you could probably see the bird reacting to the rain. Anyway, on this day, I wanted to go down and see what was going on at the lagoon. Not a lot of people there, but there's usually something cool happening. And on this day, what was happening was this eagle. I could not believe it. When I was driving towards it and I saw it, I was like, wow, this bird, I mean, the video does not give justice to the size of this bird. As I mentioned, the size of a toddler, I'm certain of it. So growing up on the north end of the island, as I did many years ago, you see these birds every day, right? But it's been a long time because I've been on the South Island for many years. So it's more rare and I don't get out into nature as much as I did back then. And you can just see how she's sitting there looking rather at home on the log. I got the sense as I was watching and people were driving up and driving away and driving up and driving away that she was pretty happy enough to have us staring at her and admiring all of her beauty. The way she kept looking out over the ocean and then back and the ever-growing stream of vehicles that stopped to look made me think she was taking in all that she saw as her kingdom. She really was quite something. And back to that, thinking I got another 5 minutes of footage, I feel like not getting it was kind of the universe's way of saying that I'd gotten all I needed. Don't be greedy. um, so also, none of the people, including myself, got out of the car to get closer footage, because no one wants to be that guy, you know, where you get out and then you scare the poor bird away. So this is as close as any of us got, and I'm just super, super grateful. So I'm just going to quickly go through what eagle represents, because I don't want to do yet another loop of this video. I don't want you getting bored, like I said, and we're almost at that point anyways from the script that I had written. So the eagle message brings this information. So seeing things from a higher perspective, trusting your intuition and the guidance that you receive, trusting in your higher self, which goes with trusting your intuition, understanding that your path may change from what you think it should be. So just try to go with the flow. Really honestly, rather than trying to force something to happen where you begin to feel a lot of resistance and then you get frustrated and angry, sit back. When that happens, sit back, take a break, and just listen to your intuition and see where it's trying to send you, because that's the right way for you to go. Other meanings are trust your visions. Hopefully you have visions, and hopefully you're getting a lot of good information from them. Trust those visions. Have courage to do something you might not think you would have done in your life. And as I mentioned earlier, eagle carries a masculine energy, which I think explains why I was sensing it might be a male, but for its immense size. So I have one more bit of information, symbolism information for you, and this comes from the Oracle deck Power Animals by Dr. Stephen Farmer, PhD. Quote, "When you live your life according to spiritual law, spirit's intent expresses through your personality easily and fluidly. Your light will shine if only you let it, and all that you want will come to you without ever needing to know how. To follow your spiritual path, your only job is to listen and then heed Spirit's directives, and your life will flow quite easily and naturally. Your conscious mind is meant to be the receiver and transmitter of these urgings, translating the information sent from Spirit through pure awareness into the physical realm and decipherable communication. Since your ego's willfulness can interfere and misdirect, you must pay close attention to discern which is which. Know that your higher self will only give you straightforward, positive, and encouraging support, whereas the ego's voice will tend to be negative and discouraging. Let this ageless wisdom, that is your spiritual birthright, come through so that you may shine with light and love upon yourself, others, and the world around you." What a great message, and really encompasses all of the other sort of meanings that I mentioned before. And I also have noticed that most bird messages do come with that part of looking at things from a higher perspective. Sometimes we get so deep into the weeds of whatever it is we're doing or trying to accomplish that it's hard to see the higher perspective. What's the overall goal? What's the holistic view of what we're trying to do? So it's just a good reminder. And when you start to live that way also, things become a lot more peaceful. A lot more peaceful. I started to live, I've always listened to my intuition, but more recently I've started to really just listen to my intuition and recognize when I'm trying to force something and then step back. And oh my gosh, things started to open up for me so much more quickly. So, okay, I'm going to end it before I have to loop this video again. I hope it was informative for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing this beautiful, beautiful bird. I'm going to add something to the end of this video. I don't know. I also saw a family of geese with their goslings crossing the road, which I did get some video of. I got to try and get the ratio correct because it's on an angle. But also I didn't get too much because the cars behind me were like, "Girl, we see this every day. Get moving. Just get moving." But I don't want to disturb birds when they're crossing the road with their families. So I pulled off to the side. I was going to kind of get out and sort of shoo them along with my arms. But then the car behind me was like, "Nah, I've been here. I've done this. I'm just going to start driving slowly and they're going to move." And they did. They did move. But I don't know. It felt a little nasty. Okay, anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. Please let me know what you thought about this video and any stories you have of your own animal symbolism experiences, because we're here to share. We're here to learn from each other. Let's do that. And you know what? Take care of yourselves, you guys. Take care of yourselves in this crazy, crazy world. All right.